Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets from now until Super Bowl 57 on February 12th, 2023 from your favorite WagerTalk handicapper for only $1,199 versus a regular price of $1,999 for one total savings of $800. This limited time super discount comes out to less than $100 per month and only $3.28 per day. As an added bonus, your all access starts immediately, so the sooner you buy before Super Bowl 56, the more additional days you will get for free. Just go to WagerTalk.com, choose your favorite handicapper to lock in, and don't forget there is no limit to the amount of handicappers you can redeem our Super Bowl to Super Bowl offer on.
Good morning, guys. Welcome in right here to Wager Talk TV. You're watching Puck Time. I'm Andrew McInnis. I have Carmine and Bianco with me and Lawrence Presman. We're here to break down 4 NHL games. We got some promotion codes for you guys as well and best bets at the end of the show. Before we jump into anything, I just want to first of all thank all of you guys for the support we had on the promo codes over the last few weeks for a full season package. We had so many people email in. We have made one more promo code good for this week. This is not my doing. This is customer service. It is SCORE299. That works for both Lawrence, that works for Carm, and it works for myself. You can get that at wagertalk.com, SCORE299, the entire season plus playoffs, $299. All three of us are rolling. Looking forward to this show. Make sure you guys grab that package, SCORE299. It's good for this week. $299 for the rest of the year, plus the playoffs. As far as today's games go, we're talking Ducks and Leafs, Sharks, Capitals, Flames and Blue Jackets, and Bruins and the Avalanche. Last night for me, guys, my first, down night really in a while. First, not so good. Happy to have it finished off with a winner with McDavid to score a goal. It's kind of nice when you end the night on a winner like that. But Carm, how was your night?
Night was good. 2-1 night for me. We started off with 2 easy total winners. At least I thought they were easy. Tried to close it off with another totals winner in that Edmonton game. Didn't look good early. Looked like it had a shot in the third period with a power play to hopefully make it 3-2, and then the empty netter to try and save us. But it's all hopes and dreams. 2-1 overall, but a good run has continued. It's been a fantastic start to 2022 in NHL hockey. And as Andrew mentioned, we got emails to our office about that code. There were some clients who wanted it extended, so we came up with a new coupon code for the rest of the NHL regular season and the playoffs. Who had a good night yesterday? I'm pretty sure this guy with a 5% winner. Prez, what's up? Welcome back.
Boys, good to be back, man. I did not have a winning night last night, but I did win my 5% play in hockey, and I have been on a hockey run of late, which makes me very happy. I just want to shout out to both of you guys, though. Most people don't realize, nobody is inside of we have a text group where the three of us text on a regular basis. And, all three of us started the NHL season just dreadfully. I mean, Andrew McInnis might have wanted to jump off a bridge or something back in October. Carmine, you have fixed your season in a short 3-week period. And Andrew, plus 56% in NHL, which is probably, and I could be wrong, but give or take, about 100-point swing in the last 3 months. So I just want to shout out to both of you guys. It's my turn now. I'm still down per units, but I have been rolling for the last 2 weeks. But way to go, you two guys, because I know I was on all those texts, and I know how frustrated you all were. Anyway, good to be here. I got 2 NHL plays up tonight. I love coming on Puck Time. I love the guys in the room. Let's go, man. Let's go.
We're happy to have you, Prez. We appreciate the kind words, and I'm happy you had a good time in Dominican, man. Saw some good pictures yesterday on Facebook. Looked like a great resort you were at. Looked like a great time. You're all tanned up as well, man. Anything you want to add about the trip?
Well, I'll talk about the trip in a sec, but Just Send It asked a really interesting question, and that is it worth it to pay minus 135 to get an NHL total from 6 to 5.5? So I have two things to say to that because it's a great question. Number one is, what was the original price? If it was minus 130 at 6, then yes, it is worth paying the extra 5. So I would need to know what the original price is. But secondly, and this is the most important thing, and I use this pretty much as religion in any sport, never, ever buy off a potential push. So don't buy from 7 to 6.5. Don't buy from 3 to 2.5. Don't buy from 6 to 5.5. On a whole, buying points is a terrible proposition to begin with in any area on any number. But buying off of a push is just complete stupidity. So the answer, Just Send It, is no. Sorry, Andrew. As far as my trip, it was freaking awesome, man. Lay at a pool for 8 days, and I read. I read the Gray Man novel series, the Gray Man written by Mark Greaney. I think they're 10 books in. They're coming out. They're doing either Amazon or Netflix is doing a movie on the Gray Man with Ryan Gosling as the Gray Man. It's unbelievable. It was so freaking amazing. Anyway, let's talk hockey.
Let's do it. Let's jump into our very first game we're going to discuss for today's games. We have Anaheim and Toronto going head-to-head here. Toronto minus 290 at home. The Ducks are plus 235 on the road here in the East Coast. Totals at 6. Toronto 7-3 their last 10 games. Anaheim, they're off a big plus 210 upset victory over the Boston Bruins, where they won that one 5-3. Carmine, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts here in this matchup? How are you looking to bet this one?
Yeah. So first and foremost, let me put it out there that because whenever Prez is on the show, if I'm going against Toronto, it looks like it's in my anti-biased. But no team is exempt from what I've said all season, where I'd like to fade a team coming their first home off a long road trip. The Leafs have had 3 days off from the East Coast trip, so it might be a little different when you're looking at that, but it is still their first game home after 6 games on the road. We saw what happened yesterday to Winnipeg off of 8-game road trip. They weren't that great defensively. And then you have this Anaheim team that they've had their ups and downs, more downs of late than ups, but you can't ignore this 3-game the 3 games over this last week that they've had. They lose 2-0 to Colorado at home, a game that was in the balance until late. I think Kadri scored one late in that game, empty netter, to make it a 2-0 game. And then they go in and they beat Tampa Bay 5-1, a dominating performance, and they went into Boston. And while the final score was 5-3, it was another one where you can either say the Bruins played absolutely flat, or you give Anaheim credit that they won this game. Leafs are in that, and Prez, you're on the show, so we're going to use that zigzag thing. The Leafs have zig and zag their last 6 or 7 games, I believe. If you believe in that little zigzag theory there, then they're zagging and losing tonight. Well, I'm not going to take Anaheim to win outright. Plus 1.5 might not be a bad option here. Brian Leonard usually does that. I don't, but I'm going to take Anaheim plus the goal and a half because it's minus 105, getting a goal and a half. Prez?
Yeah, well, we're not aligned, Carmen. I respect the coming home off of an away stand, because that is an angle, and that is an angle that regularly does pay well. And this is the perfect type of spot to use that angle, because what you want is you want a really good team coming home after a long road trip playing a bad team, where you play on the bad team and you're getting your plus 200 and change. And that's exactly the spot, and it makes sense. However, with that said, I think the 3-day rest is a big deal. Normally, you don't come home and have a 3-day rest. Normally, you come home, you have a 1 or a 2-day rest. I think the 3-day rest is a big deal, number one. Number two, We've already been down this path. The Toronto Maple Leafs are world beaters when nobody's in the stands. We saw them do that in the bubble. I don't know what it is about that team. Maybe they just, mentally think there's more room on the ice because nobody's around. Who knows? But I'll tell you, Carm, I think this is a bad spot for Anaheim as well, coming off of a win last game. They're coming into Toronto. Dude, I think this is going to be a blowout. And frankly, I like the bet Toronto -1.5. So you and I are completely opposite each other, which is fine. I have no problem with that.
Listen, I'm good with it. If this show is, as Andrew will tell you, what makes this show great is that we don't have three guys in the show just all agreeing on every single play, every single total. It becomes mundane, to say the least. I love the fact that we're on opposite plays here. Andrew?
Yeah, dude, I think what makes this show... Sorry, Andrew. What makes this show great is the Prez. Sorry, Andrew, you were saying?
Well, it has to be great at least once a week. It has to be a great show at least once a week.
Oh, no, I bleed. I bleed into tomorrow. Like, tomorrow's show will be really great because of the Prez as well.
Because you were on today. Okay.
Yeah. Hey,
on Monday,
which one of you guys... Wait. Which one of you guys are coming on Wager Talk tomorrow?
It's me.
Andrew, you're on today. Second up. Put 2 plays in. Okay, go ahead.
All right. I was going to say that Carm and I were pretty much on agreement for every single play on Monday. And then yesterday between Buster, Carm, and I, it was pretty much back and forth on every single thing. As far as today, I can't agree with my co-host here. I'm with the Prez. I think the Leafs are going to get it done, especially if Justin Hall is back. Defenseman Jake Muzzin will still be out tonight. But Tuukka Rask played a horrible game against the Boston Bruins. I talked to a Bruins reporter. He told me that he just did not think that was going to be a good game for the Bruins. He wasn't shocked one bit. The Ducks had a good performance there. And then that game against Tampa, hats off, and then keeping it close against Colorado. But how many games in a row can you play against the most elite teams in the National Hockey League and continue to play upset? How many times in a row can you continue to put forward a good effort against the best teams in the league and surprise them or upset them? I'm not so sure that this can continue for the Anaheim Ducks. We'll see if it can, but they're on their East Coast trip. We'll see what they can do, but I am stepping in front of this Ducks team tonight and taking a look at the Maple Leafs on the puck line. Should be a good one, though. We'll see if the dogs are barking again in the Anaheim games or if the favorite takes over here. I think getting Justin Hall back is big for this team. We saw what happened without them, both Muzzin and Hall in the lineup. But a little bit of disagreement here to start things off in the show. Let's get into the Capitals.
I will rebut. Hold on. Wait. Andrew, so I'm just going to rebut. I'm going to rebut and throw one last one out. This is Andrew and I talking, Lawrence, on this one. Yeah, no, we have to. There has to be a little bit of rebuttal. Everyone gets up to play the Toronto Maple Leafs. So I get the angle of, and Anaheim sustain it. They played 3 of the better teams in the league their last 3 games, and now they're supposed to be playing the elite from Canada, which is the Toronto Maple Leafs. So everyone gets up for the Leafs. How can you not? They're supposed to be one of the top teams. It's sometimes when you look at those lower teams, it's like their Stanley Cup. Hey, let's go in and beat these guys. Everyone says we can't beat them. So we'll see if that happens tonight. One of the 1.5s is going to cash. It's either going to be the +1.5 or the -1.5, Prez.
That was genius, Carm. Figuring out that one of those is going to cash. I mean, that is high level analysis right there. That's why everyone watches Puck Time.
Mike.
Carmine, Bianco, everybody.
Yeah. Continuing on.
Okay, so the San Jose Sharks and the Washington Capitals is our next game here, and I think this is actually proves a lot of the point the Prez made at the start of the show there. We got Washington -210. Sharks are +175. Total is currently at 5.5. And to the comment that Prez answered, to me, my 2 cents on what he said and what the question was, this total is 5.5, guys, but it's completely juiced all over the board. And I always say that in, whether it's football, basketball, a spread sport like that, you don't buy points. you try and shop around and get the best number. You don't buy points. But for right now, the 5.5s are so key compared to the 6 that I have no problem sometimes grabbing a -125 over 5.5 than a 6 plus 100. That's my personal preference. It also depends on volume and how many games I'm betting. But right now, across the board, we're seeing the Sharks, Capitals, and it was overnight as well. I saw this. I predicted it was going to get juiced up a little bit. It's up as high as like -125 now for this total. For the Capitals, the total has gone over in 5 of their last 6 games where they scored 2 or less goals. They're off a game they got shut out and they lost 1-0. As far as the San Jose, well, they gave up 7 goals in their last game. I think both these teams bounce back in their own individual way. I'm staying off the side in this game. I mentioned in my segment on Monday, San Jose is a sell team. They're playing the best teams in the league pretty much coming up here in the next week and a half. But I think we get over 5.5 here. And Prez, I'm willing to go over with the 5.5 on the -125 here rather than I'm waiting for a 6. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, Andrew, first, right off the bat, I like the over too. So I'm with you 100%. In regards to buying that half point, I mean, look, you're saying -125 at 5.5 versus 6 plus 100. I think that's roughly 22% difference, give or take. You'd have to show me the math that they're at 22% of the time or 20 whatever percent of the time a game lands on 6 instead of 5. I don't believe that to be the case. I don't believe that they land on 6 more than 5 that larger percentage of time. So from a mathematical perspective over a long period of time, I would say that that has a negative EV. But if you could show me the math that games that you land on 6 instead of 5, 21, 22% of the time, well then, yeah, sure. But until I see that math, I'm not going to just hand out 25 extra cents for no reason. And I don't know that math. So I can't speak to that. My guess is that it's a bad EV value. But I mean, Andrew and Carm and everybody listening, I mean, I'm going to make life really, really simple. When you go buy a fridge and they ask you if you want a warranty, the answer is no. When you go buy a computer and they ask if you want a warranty, the answer is no. You don't. There is a reason insurance companies are the largest companies in the world. That's because it's a negative EV for the client. It is the same with sports books. If they are offering you something, it's likely a bad proposition. So I think you should go into buying points and all of that stuff, or just knowing ahead of time that it is unlikely that the books are going to give you a mathematical advantage. It is more likely, and I use the -3 all the time, buying from 3.5 to 3 you should pay 8 cents. Instead, you pay 20. That's a hardcore negative EV. It's the same with 6 to 5.5. I haven't done the math, but it has to be, because insurance is never good for the client and buying points is never good for the client either. In regards to this game, look, man, I like the over in this game too, but I am scared. I mean, San Jose has gone under the total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of their last 9 games. Washington, they put up a 0 and a 3, and a 3 and a 4 and a 2 and a 2. So I'm seeing inconsistency with Washington scoring. One game they put up a 3 and a 4, and then the next 2 games they put up 1s and 2s and 0s. I don't want to be playing teams over or under when I don't know how to define them. Is Washington an over team? Is Washington an under team? Washington is 22-19 to the over on the year. That's an over team, but barely. San Jose is 17-25 to the under all year. That means they're playing to the under. I like the over in this game, but I can't get to the window. And I also like Washington in regulation as well. If I had to take any bet in this game, I would take Washington in regulation.
I think the Sharks are a fade team moving forward. Prez, they're playing the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Florida Panthers, many elite teams coming up.
I agree.
It's not a good schedule coming up for them. And as far as that, my response to you is I agree with that. I mean, there's no arguing the math there. As far as right now, there's only 5.5s available. So if I wanted a 6, I couldn't even really find one. I was just kind of letting people out there know that I'm okay with the juice right now on a 5.5. And the great thing that you said there, and I tried to mention that, was that the volume. If I was betting 5 totals tonight at 5.5 that were minus 130 or 25, I wouldn't want to do that. Every now and then betting a minus 125, I have no issue. But if you're betting a lot of them, like you said, long term, mathematically, you're pretty much just guessing that they might land exactly on 6. And it probably isn't good for your bankroll to do that. You're betting a bunch of them, but for this instance, I'm not going to wait till it turns to 6. I'm fine to jump in on the 5.5 at a juice price right now. Carmine, you want a side or total in this one?
I'm listening to what you guys say, and you're making some good points. I get the whole, San Jose isn't scoring a lot of goals, or their games are low scoring, I should say. But you look at some of the teams that they're playing in those games, and you probably wouldn't expect goals from those teams unless you're taking the pond hockey approach. But Detroit Red Wings, the Flyers, who are in a 13-game slump, the Sabres, again, the Wings, the Kings, the Kraken, a lot of teams on their schedule that just those games are going to be low-scoring games. I think 3 of the 4 teams I mentioned, and I'll talk about that in the last game that we talk about. 3 of those 4 teams I mentioned have scored less than 100 goals this year. There's only 4 teams that have scored under 100 goals this year. One of them, the New York Islanders, who are obviously have a bunch of games in hand on the other teams. But you have your Arizonas, your Anaheims, or not Anaheim, but the Sabres, Montreal. There's a lot of teams that just haven't scored. So you can't expect a team that hasn't even broken 100 to get involved in a high-scoring game. But that said, if you watch Washington over the last week plus, this is one of those teams that is they're teetering on a big run. It's similar to, and someone mentioned it just a little while ago in chat, and thank you for mentioning it, the Dallas Stars. I talked about the Dallas Stars going on this road trip, and that it was a trip I thought they'd win all 4 games, and they could, and jumpstart that bad start to the season they've had on the road. 4 wins. Yesterday's was probably the easiest of the 4 games. So Washington's teetering on a big one, and by a big one is where they just blow someone out and then get on a run and win some games in a row. This seems like one of them. It wasn't for Lehner and that Vegas defense in that last game. Washington was just all over them, couldn't break through. But this looks like a team that's ready to win some games. And San Jose's had a miserable 2021 thus far, or sorry, 2022 thus far. They've had a couple of wins, but for the most part, they haven't looked good. And that 7-1 win against Tampa, loss against Tampa, they did not look good. I wouldn't fault you for taking the over here, but I think Washington is the play here, and you can take them regulation or puck line. That's my play here, Andrew.
It just seems like right now there just aren't enough guys on the ice for the San Jose Sharks that are contributing on a nightly basis. We saw Timo Meier. He scored 4 goals the other night, Carm, and that was a huge night for that team. Unfortunately, one of your better players is not going to score a hat trick every single night for you. You need to get scoring production elsewhere, and that's kind of the case with the Sharks right now.
Yeah, and I wanted to add one last thing. I talked about Washington. I've looked at their schedule coming up, and while it might not seem like a favorable schedule to start off, it actually is one. You got this game against San Jose here. Then they are going to go to Dallas, who are absolutely great at home. But that's a spot where Dallas is coming home off of 4 wins against mediocre teams, and now you're stepping it up at home. You're first back against a Washington team who can put pucks in the net. And then Washington has 3 days off before playing the Penguins, or 2 days off, I think, before playing the Penguins on the weekend. And then they have a string of games against teams in the bottom half of the league. There could be a win streak on the horizon for this Washington team, and there's nothing better than to start it tonight with a big win.
I hope to see it. Let's jump into our next game. We got a couple more games to get into. Then best bets at the end. We got the Flames and the Blue Jackets going head-to-head tonight in Columbus. They're home dogs at plus 160. The Flames are minus 190 on the road. Totals at 6 in this game. And talk about momentum. Well, Calgary, 7-1 victory. That happened to be Carmine's 5% play, by the way. 7-1 victory for the Flames over the St. Louis Blues. And the Columbus Blue Jackets are a team slumping right now. They can't even beat the Ottawa Senators. They can't put up goals on the board right now. The question I'll ask you, Prez, can we justify this price here right now for the Calgary Flames? This has been a very inconsistent Columbus Blue Jackets team, but I can't really justify minus 190 just quite yet with this team.
No, and not only, I mean, I'm not even looking at it as can you justify minus 190 on Calgary. It's can you justify plus 160 on Columbus? And my answer is yes. Columbus is the bet here from my perspective. Calgary with just a massive win, 7-1 against St. Louis. And a shout out to Carmine Bianco. He had that play as a 5%. Columbus lost 2 in a row, 2-1 to Ottawa, 5-2 to Pittsburgh. And you know, I'll tell you right now, Andrew, because people are talking about it in the chat room a little bit with Edmonton and Sebastian Anthony. I agree. Edmonton is a buy team moving forward. I think Calgary is a sell team moving forward. I don't think this Calgary team makes the playoffs. I don't think this Calgary team is very good. Look, I understand they've got a coach that gets the best out of them, but hey, man, like, you know, I mean, how delicious could Kathy Bates be in bed? Not very, man. Like, you can't get the best out of shit, and that's what they are. Calgary Flames, if I got a chance to fade them, I'm going to take it. I like Columbus in the spot, and I like over the total. Guys, I'll tell you, with Columbus, Columbus is a team that you can play over the total pretty much all year long and cash tickets. They're 24-14 to the over. Anytime I get 6 or less in a Columbus game, I don't necessarily release it to my clients, but I almost always bet it. So I prefer the over in this game, and I do think there's value on Columbus. Don't buy into the Calgary Flames.
Carm, how much is momentum a thing here after that 7-1 victory?
Mo is a big thing for the Stars going into yesterday. But to Prez's point, I'm going to put this one out there, Prez. Everyone's watching in chat. You say Calgary's not going to make the playoffs. I say Calgary is going to make the playoffs. So we'll just make a friendly wager dinner at Blue Bloods in Casa Loma, one of the best steakhouses in all of Toronto. For us and our significant others. I'll take Calgary to make the playoffs. You take Calgary not to make the playoffs.
No.
Well, that was your point. Calgary won't make the playoffs.
No significant others. Just me and you.
Just you guys.
No.
Yeah, because we're going to add to the bet that after dinner, the loser then has to pleasure Kathy Bates.
I did not know what he was going to say there. Look, Carm looks like he's frozen. I thought Carm's computer crashed for a second.
Carm's going into witness protection from this Lawrence's
We have an
dribble.
official bet. We have an official bet, even though you're getting better odds than what they are, because a dinner with you is a joy for me regardless.
Yeah.
I will accept that bet.
So it is okay. So it is on. I've got Calgary to make the playoffs. You have Calgary not to make the playoffs. I'm after the show's over. I'm going to start looking at the menu because I will be ordering pretty much everything, everything off that menu. With that said, anyways, my thoughts on this game. I guess that's where we're going to next. That was a big win by Calgary, but I did say I thought it was a bad spot for the Blues coming in off that game that they had in Vancouver where they stole that one. It's not the fat and sassy thing. I think that this Flames team is going to go on a run. And I talked about, 4 of the next 5 are on the road. And then they have 21 of 26 games at home this team plays better at home and have in the past. We may not have seen it as of yet, but we will see it. And you've got a top-notch goalie in a Markstrom. It's one of the most important things is to have a goalie that can get you those wins and steal you those wins at times. I don't want to take him here. It's too big a price. And Columbus can jump up and bite you at home when they're playing at home, especially when Elvis Merzlikins is in net tonight, and he's confirmed as a starting goalie. While his record isn't the greatest on the year, he's 10-4 at home, and he has beaten some very good teams at home, the likes of Colorado coming in and shutting them down. So give me Columbus in this game. I just don't want to lay the money on Calgary. I'd love to see Calgary win, obviously, after having made that bet. But I'm going to lean to either Columbus here or take the over in this game because the over 5.5 does look short in this game.
And Carm, don't feel bad about being that side of the wager that's heavily favored for the Flames to make the playoffs. Because I got a call last year when I was at a bar from Prez saying, "I'll bet you the Habs don't make the playoffs," and it was pretty much impossible for them to make the playoffs. And I got lucky with that format. So now you're on the side of the favorite. So not the underdog. So everybody has to take their turn being the underdog side. And Prez needs a disastrous second half from the Flames, and you need them to keep on rolling. So we'll see what happens with that team.
Honestly,
Boston Bruins.
Andrew,
Yeah,
in all seriousness, I just want to buy Carm a steak dinner.
Well, that's very touching. I can see you doing
it is.
Because
it brings a tear to my eye. It really does.
I've never bought Carm a steak dinner before.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm very sure.
I don't recall anything, but anyways, moving on.
All right, we have our last game we're discussing. The Colorado Avalanche playing host to the Boston Bruins. Colorado minus 180 at home. Boston Bruins plus 150. And the total's at 6. And guys, if you're out there watching and you watch this show every week, you can remember a little rant that I had on the show about the goaltending problem. I tweeted it out as well. The goaltending issue with this team right now. And I'm not coming at Boston Bruins fans when I say this, but I am kind of bringing something to everyone's attention. Week and a half ago, Allmark's in net. He's up 4-1 in his game. The crowd starts chanting, "We want Tuukka." Tuukka Rask plays that next day, beats the Philadelphia Flyers. All of a sudden, his next start, he gets absolutely rocked against the Carolina Hurricanes. What happens 2 days ago? We see Tuukka Rask get rocked again, allow 5 goals to the Anaheim Ducks. What does the crowd start cheering? We want Swayman. Did you guys really think putting a goalie in that had no preseason, no training camp, no games in the minors is going to come in and play an NHL caliber game against anybody? I really am shocked with the whole goaltending situation right now with the Boston Bruins. And as far as the Colorado Avalanche go, when I look at this team right now, they've played, as shocking as it might sound to some people, inconsistent lately. Even though they're winning, they're not really looking like themselves. And I think that, honestly, I'm not one to lay minus 180. I probably wouldn't still look at the minus 180 as a whole here. But I think this is a short price, Carm, in this head-to-head battle. Colorado are miles ahead of the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, they are miles ahead. I think the one difference is this is probably one of the better teams that Colorado has faced over the last couple of weeks. They've had some real softies in Chicago, Montreal, the LA Kings, Anaheim. Obviously, Minnesota is probably the toughest, but then you have Arizona back to back. So they've had some easy ones, which probably has something to do with the fact that 5 of their last 6 games have stayed under the total. But again, as I mentioned, and they've only allowed 6 goals in their last 6 games. They're playing extremely well, 5 of the last 6. Right? Like, as I mentioned, Arizona, Anaheim, Montreal, Chicago, LA. 3 of those teams have the 4 lowest scoring outputs. So they're getting by. The Avs are getting by, only having to score 3. They don't need to outscore a team. This is probably one of those nights where you do need to outscore a team because Boston does have scoring. And if you give Boston a power play, that number one power play line of theirs is very good. They'll put the puck in the net. Pasternak's unreal. That face-off circle. But with that said, I would probably lean to the total here, just because while Boston could be a live dog here, you're not getting enough on Boston to want me to step in front of the Colorado Avalanche right now, and especially the Colorado Avalanche at home. So I'm going to lean to the full game total here and go over, since it's at 6 right now. Prez?
Yeah, baby. Carm, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, the only problem for me is I've been playing the over on these Colorado games for the last 4 games, and all 4 of them went under. 2-0 Chicago, 2-0 Colorado over Chicago, 3-2 over some team in Montreal that shouldn't be in the league, 4-1 over the Kings, 2-0 over Anaheim. Look, I think one of the great things that you mentioned is if you're going to beat Boston right now, you're going to need to score, and that's what Boston is doing. We spoke at the top of the show in the last segment about how I'm looking for teams that have defined themselves, that are consistent. If you take a look at Boston, just down their last 10 games, they've scored 3-3, 4-1, 4-3, 5-7, 5-2. There's only 2 games out of 10 that they scored less than 3 goals, just 2 out of 10. Only 1 out of 10 where they scored 1 goal, and they have scored in every game in the last 10. So I'm with you, man. That power play is vicious, and Colorado's is as well. If there's 6-7 penalties in this game, it goes way over the total. I'm not going to overthink this game. If I'm getting a 6 with Colorado, I'm taking it over the total for me, please.
And it's kind of funny, Prez, when you talk about a team like the Colorado Avalanche, that they're still winning games. I mean, they're 9-1 their last 10. They've been unbelievable at home as well. But yet, I say that they've been kind of disappointing and inconsistent lately, because we're not seeing 5 or 6 goals from them, which is what we're used to seeing. Like you said, 4 goals against LA, but 2 goals against Anaheim before that, 3 against Montreal, and then 2 goals against that victory against Chicago. A 2-0 win for this Colorado team is almost like a bad game for them. And that's what's really great about this team. I mean, an average game seems to be like, 5 goals for them. They're definitely they're up there for goals per game production wise. We have to jump in to some promotional stuff. Once again, guys, that promo code, you can use it on Prez, Carm, or myself. That's SCORE299, long-term access for NHL, the rest of the season, plus the playoffs. That's the biggest key part of that whole thing. Plus the playoffs is almost more important than just the regular season, because a lot of these regular season packages will expire, and we will have playoff packages up. This package alone includes regular season and the playoff. SCORE299. Let's try and keep this hot streak going with best bets, but I'll go to you, Carm, to let us know what you have up at the website for tonight.
Just a couple NHL plays up for tonight. Going to try and keep this very good run going. It's going to take me maybe another couple of weeks, Andrew, to catch up to you in the standings, you and Brian. But I'll get there. We'll give it a good shot. 2 plays up, like I said, in NHL tonight. A client play went out in soccer. Probably another client play will go out a little later. No soccer up for sale. As far as my show best bet, I'm going to go back to that first game we discussed, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Anaheim Ducks. I understand the Leafs are a very good team coming home, and they play well in front of empty stadiums, but they are a corporate-owned team, so all those seats are normally empty because the big wigs are eating steaks with the Prez. I'm going to take Anaheim plus 1.5 here. I think they've played well over their last 3 games. It's an uptick, and sometimes that goes for a few more games. They've looked impressive, especially in that 5-3 win. Rask played bad in that game, but Anaheim did play extremely well there. Give me plus 1.5 with Anaheim as the show best bet here.
Plus 1.5 with the Anaheim Ducks tonight in Toronto. Prez, will go to you for what you have up for grabs for your clients tonight and your best bet on the show.
Andrew, just really quick, some runs. I'm on a 11-4 NBA run. I have an NBA play up. I'm on a 6-2 college basketball run. I have a college basketball play up. I'm on an 8-3 all sports run. I'm on a 19-10 NHL run. I have a 3-pack of NHL plays tonight. The first time I've released 3 NHL plays in a night in freaking ages. So pretty excited about tonight on a whole. And also my NFL. Guys, I mean, if I sneeze an NFL bet, you grab the tissue and catch the schnot because you need it. I don't know where that stupid analogy came. That was terrible. But the bottom line is, if I fart NFL, you jar it. Keep it for later. Okay?
Shit.
That's what I'm talking about. And I have one NFL play up already for this weekend, and I got another going up later on today. That's it, brother. Wager Talk today, 12 o'clock noon. We have Steve Merrill, Andrew McInnis, and Art DeCesar on the show. Yeah, that's it. Oh, guys are talking about the steak. I think Abid went and looked, Carm, at Blue Bloods' menu. Said the highest steak was like $160 or something. I think there's more expensive steak off menu there. You can get steak right up to $500. That place is insane. Anyway, please end this show so I can get ready for the next
Stop
one.
talking. Thank you.
No.
All right. I'll just say a long-term streak. You guys know how it's been. Prez mentioned it. I had a horrible October, but ever since early November, mid-November, 70% winners on the ice, number one at WagerTalk this season. On the ice, I've got basketball plays up for as far as college hoops go. I got some NHL plays up as well. Best bet going tonight in the NHL. Didn't have a 4% play yesterday. It was just 2%, 3%, 1%. I do have a 4% play ready for tonight. My best bet on the show is going to be the very first game. We talked about the second game. Looking at the Washington Capitals, San Jose Sharks over the total of 5.5. I really like how Washington has the ability to bounce back after, getting shut out in a 1-0 game. They're 5-1 their last 6 to the over after scoring 2 or less. And we see the Sharks. They're a team that, their defense isn't there. James Reimer's a good goaltender. Their defense isn't there. I expect them to contribute a little bit here. Give me a 5-3 Capitals win. Get me over the total here, the Capitals and the Sharks. I will see.
I didn't give my best bet. I didn't give my best bet. Over in the Calgary game. Over in the Calgary game. I'm gonna take my headphones off. I'm done.
All right.
Prez out.
I will see Prez in about half an hour. We'll see how long that segment goes on Wager Talk today, Carm. But Prez's best bet is the Flames and Blue Jackets over 6. Carmine has Anaheim plus 1.5, minus 105. And I have San Jose, Washington over 5.5. Let's keep the best bet train rolling here. On behalf of Carm, on behalf of the Prez, I'm Andrew, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets from now until Super Bowl 57 on February 12, 2023 from your favorite WagerTalk handicapper for only $1,199 versus a regular price of $1,999 for one total savings of $800. This limited time super discount comes out to less than $100 per month and only $3.28 per day. As an added bonus, your all access starts immediately, so the sooner you buy before Super Bowl 56, the more additional days you will get for free. Just go to WagerTalk.com, choose your favorite handicapper to lock in, and don't forget there is no limit to the amount of handicappers you can redeem our Super Bowl to Super Bowl offer on.